on this live, which we're going to spend about an hour painting, I wanted to share with you some artwork I'm working on in my sketchbook. So we're going to get started and let's see how far we get along. I have been creating quite a few paintings in my sketchbook and I wanted to share that with you. So I'm going to turn you around and get you to take a look at what we are going to be up to. So this is the piece that we're going to be working on. I'm just going to get you situated on my link arm here. Let's see, hopefully I can get that done correctly. So I'm just adjusting all my equipment here. I am not in the usual place that I do my actual painting because I am actually in my utility working at the moment with you guys. So let's see how much I can get of you in the screen. So I'll show you an example of what I was working on yesterday. First, I'm just going to put my actual apron on. But this piece is what we're going to be working on today. But I was working on another piece and I really liked the way that she came out. So I wanted to work on another one today. So let's just show you that. It's just underneath this one. So this is what I was working on yesterday and I really like the way she turned out. And so I wanted to share something similar with you guys today. And so yeah, let's just get into that and see how far we get along. So this, my usual setup is a lot more, my camera's further up, so we'll see how we work with this. I'll need to take this into consideration next time, but you can see her face here. I really love the colors that I used and it was fun to create the piece. So let's get on to the next one. So I hope you guys are doing well today. I just love to share what I get up to in my art studio. And I have been working on, let's see, let me see if I can get you a bit higher up. So I'm actually over the sink in my utility with this. So I've put my table over it so that I can get some of, I'm near the window because usually I don't use this space. I usually am in my main studio, but I wanted to get some light in today and test this area out for recording. So yeah, I'm gonna be working on this piece. So let's get some paint ready and start working on her. I was trying to think of what I might change actually, and I was thinking maybe I would take her hair out here and some things. So let's see how it goes. Actually, what I can start with is what I did yesterday, which is just to start refining some areas again first. So to see if I like the way that certain parts of her face are. So I'm gonna just work on sketching in some extras onto her, and I'm using a Posca pen for this. So let's see. And add in some layers that just seeing her eyes. Just clarifying some areas for myself. So I'm really enjoying sharing these lives with you guys here on the channel. It's basically adding more to what I do here. And also it's kind of getting me to be even more spontaneous in what it is that I'm creating. So I'm really enjoying the time. And it's challenging as well to try working with the different mediums and getting the paint to cooperate as well. So yeah, let's see how we go today. So I'm kind of like defining areas that I think I want to add to. So I'm gonna work on these flowers today as well. Should be fun. I really like the way they are. It's kind of like a redacted result from what was there before. So I will have the full sequence of events on my channel once this is finished, and it is then uploaded to my channel, so you'll be able to see it there. So I don't talk as much when I'm actually concentrating on painting. I think part of what I've been trying to do is to really take my time with my artwork of late and try to get the quality a lot higher. So I don't want to rush myself. There will be a little bit of change on this, but it might not be to the level where I really want it to be, and I'm okay with that. So that I've gone in and defined some areas again. So I can start trying to figure out what paints I want to add to this. So a little bit more defined, I can see some areas, and I really love the way that this one turned out. So I like the yellows that are in this, so I might make that part of a contribution to this one today, because I wanted her to glow. So I'm just going to put some of my yellow out. I have this cadmium yellow that I'm going to use. So I'm just putting that onto my palette. And what other one? I have also, so this was a cadmium yellow hue, and this is cadmium yellow pale hue. So let's see what the difference will be when I add this into the painting, if I can squeeze it out. It's always lovely sound effects when we do this with our paints. Let's see. I have this cadmium orange hue, so I'm looking to make her warmer for her coloring. I have this Prussian blue that I want to use, and that helps with the shadow areas for me. And let's see what other colors I want to introduce to this. I have like a variety of like turquoises and all sorts of other colors. I'm going to use some of this pink as well, so I'll put that somewhere. This one is quite runny now. So let's put it somewhere. I've added some liquid to that, so purple. Let's add some purple as well. I'm trying to think what other colors here. So I can get greens with this. It's kind of like the yellow blue. That's close to red, but I might put actual red on this as well. So I'm just looking around for my reds. Right, I'm just getting my red. So I like mixing different mediums, and sometimes I have added some collage to my artwork, but I won't be doing that with this one. But yeah, so I've got these colors on my palette, and I am going to be working with these. Let me just clear some space here. So I used the pen, as I said, to kind of try and get myself situated, to get some of the outline a bit more defined. I have different tools that I can use here to work with. So as I go along, I'll see what I want to use. Also, I'm gonna have like this, my gesso here that I have actually tinted slightly with another warm color. So I'm gonna be using that as my white. And I'm using my flat brush, which I've been enjoying a lot lately. It gives me certain marks that I really love the look of. So I'm gonna be doing that. So now let's get straight into it. I wanted to make her warmer. That is my aim. So let's see how that goes. So I'm mixing some of my, which color do I want to use here? I've not used this as much, so I might mix in a bit of that, a bit of this one, which is going to start glowing quite a bit. So let's have fun with this. And try not to overthink what I'm doing. I'm just going to be adding layers to her slowly but surely. And it's moving the colors around. This is what I'm working out as part of what I've been doing more and more, is to get the colors to travel, change them slightly, and work with them like that. And looking at trying to get reflections into areas of her face. Another thing is that I've been working on that idea of warm and then cool colors as well, like layering in that way. So it's getting me to get a variety of colors into the actual mix of the painting. So that has been fun. So as I'm going along, I'll end up adding more and more defined colors that will brighten the piece. So I'm gonna go into her lips here and add some other colors. And her hair, I'm trying to think what I thought I wanted her hair to be. I think originally I wanted her hair to be like was it a red? And it wasn't really panning out that way, so I'm still trying to think what I want to do with her hair. So I'm going away from her face for a moment because I want to let some of the areas dry before I come back in with some other colors. And I have a butterfly here that I want to highlight a little bit. So I need to think of what color I want that butterfly to be. And you can make areas quite abstracted in the distance, so that is what I'm doing here. Adding some greens in here and abstracting that area. Just gonna wash my brush off. I also was adding like a lot more browns into the skin as well, but as I said, I need to add a bit more glow, like a yellow, so I am gonna see if I can do some of that. for the lives, it's hard to know when to actually come online to work on a live. It's very interesting to try and work that out. But I'm going to just enjoy myself and keep sharing because it's a lot of fun actually. So I might use some of the blues to start really going into some detail on our hair. As I said, I'd wanted her hair to be like a red, but that would be quite a dramatic difference. I can try it because this is the thing about working on these pieces. It's like you have to try things out or you just don't know how it's gonna work. So I'm gonna wet my brush. I'm gonna be using this round brush. What size is this? 11. And I've been leaving my paint brushes in water, so they're getting a bit cracked. Right, I'm gonna come in and start adding some of the red. And the thing with my colors is I try to build different colors in. So not necessarily just, you know, the same color all the way through, but also leaving some to dry and then adding some more after that. So I'd added different colors in. So let's see what it is like if I go over this with some red and then add some lighter areas, because as I said, I wanted her hair to be red. And then I'll come in with other colors in it. So this is quite a translucent red going in here. Let's add some colors in other areas. So I like to spread the colors around when I'm using it. It's translucent, so it's really interesting the effect it's having because of the colors underneath. So I'm using acrylic paint, and I love to do that because it dries a lot faster. So I move from side to side and go to different areas. If one area is not dry enough, so you can just move around and plan your way that way, yourself that way. So I want to do something else. I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, I like the way her face looks, and maybe I should go into the let's see, let me add some pink here actually. Let me just see what this looks like. What else can I add the pink into that would add to this? Like maybe some of her actual red as well. And I'm moving my brush around so that I get different kind of effects with it and being very loose. So I think another thing is that I'm understanding quite a lot of these days is not that I have to always mix white in with every color. I can use lighter colors in the same family to get that highlighted effect. Previously, I would have been using a lot more of the white to mix into the red and try and get it to adjust that way, but you don't have to do that. So trying to bring this pink in into some areas. As I said, when you put it one place, it's good to have it in other areas to actually get that difference. I've just mixed this in with some other colors here, and I'm going to go back in, and it's just always adding a little bit of a different color, and then you get your variety of pinks across the hair, like the highlights. So with my daughter recently, we were watching one of the Disney movies, and there's the character Red that has really nice red hair. I think that's my current inspiration for this. So yeah, I've added some to the hair. What I'm going to do is leave that for now and go into some other areas. But as I said, I'm playing with this the whole time, you know, just seeing what happens. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't work. But I am free in myself to experiment with that. So just add in a variety of colors that add to the richness of your character. So let's see, what else do I want to put in here? So I wanted to see if I can mix some browns with this, with what I have here. Like a reddy brown. Yep, that's happened. Let's see what that looks like here, adding that in. So adding colors that are very similar to each other, near to each other. I'm just really enjoying the subtleties in this. So looking at purples and pinks and adding them into the mix of the character and the shadow areas as well. Variety. Giving shadow as well. Shadow areas. And then I'll come back in and add some other colors, so some blue. Seeing how it looks with this, just playing away. And detail and expanding on the information. So I have her eyelashes there as well. I can come back in and add to that. So adding a little variety in there, some other colors, other greens. Not too much difference, but some little difference. And what else do I want to add? So let me approach some areas. I really like the colors of these flowers, so I don't want to touch them yet, but I want to go up here and see what I can do with this area here. So I have that butterfly and I'm thinking how to bring that butterfly out. So I think I'm going to add some bright colors to it first and then see what else I do. So mixing colors on the actual page as well. I love this kind of like a marbled effect when you add the colors wet on wet. So much fun. And you can introduce a whole bunch of different colors as you go along to get that effect. And you can go back and forth until you are satisfied with it. And I'm looking at this and I want this butterfly to stand out, so I need to figure out what color I want to put back here that is going to complement it. I could go a lot lighter in this background, and I could try that now. I think I'm gonna try that and go a lot lighter, like with some light greens in this background. So let's add some of this lighter color and start building an environment that I can start to introduce some kind of foliage and landscaping in the background here. So I'm making this lighter with some of my creamed white here. So my butterfly is sticking out a bit more, and I'm just gonna keep going. I think what I've learned a lot is that you have to try some things out. If you don't, then you don't know if it'll work or not. So, and the thing is, I think your brain actually stores your process as well as you go along. It stores it. So it's really good that way. So I'm going to start bringing in some greenery, which we can't see right now. So I'm going to leave that for a moment, and I'm going to move to some other areas. I like these darker colors, but I don't think it's doing anything much for, so it's to always try and brighten that. But what I'll do first though, I think, because it's like you go back and forth, you think of an idea, and then once that idea has worked itself out, you then end up adding something else. So I'm just going to add some white to this. Just made a mixture here. I'm going to add some white and start building this flower here up. So the middle area, I'm going to put some dark colors. And then let's try that with another one like here. Similar dark colors. So if the hair's stopping somewhere, and then there's another flower here. Is there another flower there? I might just make the red with some purple going here. Cancel this other one out. I'm having fun with the richness of the acrylic as well, like blending them in instantly in an area. Kind of going back dark in here again. So it's like you start with an idea for something, and then other ideas come in. So it's to keep on going and add in and add in. Until you get what it is you want. Actually, this looks a bit more like it's a shrub in this corner. That's really cool. Adding that in. And working on that. So mixing different greens and adding them to this conversation here. So let's see. Trying to get the feel of shrubbery moving around, and like, let's see. I like that. So that's like a bush area happening there. And let's see, wash my brush off, and then let's get into some more of the flowers. Let's see, I'm trying to think of the red and this. What color would stick out with these flowers? So let's just add some pink here. There we go. So I am trying to get this flower to be a bit more pronounced. As I said, it's building up layers on your flower, going round and round. So that's quite there. And then this one, I'm trying to think what to add to this flower here, because it is, let's see, so it's maybe like a tulip, this one. Don't know, let's see, wash off my brush. So this area is becoming a bit more dynamic. So if you're just joining now, my name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and I love to share my art process here on my YouTube channel. And I started working on this today just to show you some of the processes I've been working on in my sketchbook, and I'm really enjoying where it's all going, and it's just a lot of fun. Let's see, mixing in some lighter colors here. I really like my butterfly color, but I might have to adjust that if I am trying to make the painting a lot lighter, because I just feel that I want to be able to see a bit more brightness in here. So what you can do is like lightly run your brush over areas to brighten it up. Once this dries a bit better, or maybe now actually, you can start to make it, you know, a bit more dynamic with some of these brush strokes. So a lot brighter. I'm going to take some of these colors into her actual face now. Her eyes, like, I like this kind of a green. So I'll start adding some of that in there. So let's put some green down here to make this stand out a little bit more. Different yellows produce different greens with the blue, and the blue is Prussian blue that I am using. So I wanted it to be very bright and bubbly. Just taking time to add a variety of colors makes it so much more interesting and fun. So I'm gonna go back into mixing for my flower. Here, so I'm gonna add some more colors. So mix in different colors in there. I want to add, maybe this one could be a similar kind of flower. Let's see if I can dab this a little bit to make it drier, so that I can add my other acrylic on with the different colors in there. Mix in a whole bunch of colors in there to give it a different dynamic result. Maybe over here as well, do the same. Add in some layers. And then in here as well. So slightly different colors. Rinse that off. So you can see how this has changed quite a bit already. Let's see, do I have any of my tools I can use for scratching into this? Use the back of my brush. Or I'll use this palette knife here and I'll scratch into these flowers a little bit to give them a bit more of movement. So making it like a green background is really interesting because then it's getting a bit more lively, and then trying to work out what blues, what areas should be in shadow and things like that. So as it's drying, I'm going to keep building the layers. I'm going to go back into the face and let the other parts dry before coming back into them. So I'm just drying off my brushes that I've used. As I said, I just want to spend like an hour on this page here on my YouTube live. I'm planning to do TikTok after this as well for my TikTok page. So let's go into the eyes a little bit. I might use a smaller brush. Let's see. So I have a variety of brushes here. I still have smaller ones than this, but yeah, here we are. Like a detailed one as well. So these are round brushes, and this is a filbert with this little curve. But I'm gonna use this middle one here. Can I see what size this is? I never see the numbers. Oh yeah, it's got like a size 10. This was actually an artist online, art shells art. So she created a whole range of brushes which I purchased from her some time ago, so a long time ago, and I've been using them, a variety of them, in artwork. So I'm trying to think what I want to introduce into this. Ooh, I really like that. It's like there's so many different subtle colors you can add into the eyes. It's so much fun. But and then you can add into other areas as well, because I really like this kind of a sage green that I've mixed. I'm just gonna go into other areas, and that's the thing, carrying the colors that you mix in one area into other areas in your artwork. So that gives your piece a bit more of a cohesive look. Like the colors would be peeking out, and you might pick it up eventually that it's spread around different areas of the artwork. So I'm gonna add some more cream to this and go into the rest of her eye and build on that. Make it brighter and just always add in layers that you can then build on. So let's see. Trying to think, what did I do in some of my other ones? And working on this. So this has a little bit of pink and all sorts of colors in it. Pink and some of the white. And just adding to the layers helps it all to start to stand out. So all the different layers that come together to build this, it's just so much fun. And just scumbling over things. So I'm trying to think now. I have another color here that I've mixed with the pink and blue. It's like a purple, so it's like, where do I use this color now? Here. Just introducing it into areas just a little bit. And it starts to build the face. So, as always, you can wipe some areas off and push some things back. To mix some brown to bring in some areas here. So I'm gonna just put, I've got this brown here that I'm just gonna use straight onto my palette. So this is what my palette is looking like at the moment. I've been working mostly in this area. I've used a little bit of everything to build the face. So now I want to get some shadow areas. So I'm taking some of the Prussian blue and putting it into, let me just show you here, some of the Prussian blue and adding it into some of the browns that the brown that I just put on my palette, and it's gotten a lot darker. And so I'm going to use that in these areas here and just add some dark brown to this area. Maybe a bit more of the brown if I think I want to lighten it up. So it's just constantly mixing, playing with warm, dark areas. Add some of the brown to the red. Warm, dark areas. I'm gonna come back into the hair again in a minute. So I'm adding some of that blue and brown to make a really dark color here that I'm trying to frame the face with, and give some shadow areas too. As I said, I wanted to be able to have more detail in the work and just spend time in areas, and if I have to spend longer than I would normally do, then fine. I don't want to be rushing everything all the time, so that was my intention, to slow down with these specific portraits in my sketchbook, to try and get more details in. Right, let's get some darker area in here. So I'm also looking at my camera as I'm doing this to try and get details, I want to add some more deepness over here. So I'm looking at how I can do that. Some of the red. Back in. Because I did use some pinks, so some of the reds to start getting some of the areas to be a bit more rich. And I'm really going with the curly hair because I wanted to try that out. I myself have very curly hair and afro wise, and it's just fun to start practicing doing some hair with texture in it. So I would go in and put some areas here with some lighter colors as well. I'm gonna bring in some more pinks again because I like doing that for my highlights. So after adding this layer, I will go into adding some white into the pink. Quite a bit of white into the pink because I want her face to pop a bit more. So let me just try and get this slowly in. I've used a smaller brush, but there you go. Here you are. That's what I've got right now. So this is what I'm gonna use. And keeping my hands flowing and trying to, like, the areas that are closer to her face, like highlight areas, trying to just bring that in. Bringing some of the colors back into her face again, going in. Just building on the layers. Very more descriptive face we have here. So I really like where it's going. So let's see. Now I'm gonna go back into mixing my flowers and start adding some other colors to other areas. Like, okay, maybe I'll come into the butterfly actually. Let's make this butterfly a bit more prominent in some way. So let's put this kind of bluey green around this butterfly to make it stick out a bit more. I need a bigger brush. So let's see. Some browns in some other areas as well. Mix in some of that blue and brown. Might add a tree here in this background. A bit more brown. It's a bit skinnier, I think, but that's supposed to be kind of a plant tree. Let's put something over here as well. Right. So I'm trying to think what else I did in there that I liked in this other painting. So the flowers could get more detail in them. I think could put some more details into these flowers. So I'm gonna mix some more colors to get this a bit more dynamic in the flowers. Let's see. I want to add some of the white into this and then bring these in. I'm not really digging that. Maybe a bit more orange in there. I think I liked the cream before that. Don't know if I like what's coming up now. And scratch into it. Side her face. Let's scratch into that as well. So it's keeping it very bright, just highlights. And can go into like areas of her face and add some more to make it a bit brighter. And some more here. So it's just to remember that this area is in shadows, so I might add some purples to that area there. I'm just going to wash my brush off and add some purple colors in here. So I really like the result so far. And let's see, some purple and some of the cream, the white, and see what happens in here. So I want to get as much of the liquid off this. I don't like the brush to be too wet. Let's see, I hope it's not too dark. But with acrylics, you can always let it dry and then it can improve. Right, let me just turn my brush a little bit. So I want to get some of this to go back a bit because I feel like her face could be kind of fading into this background here with some more of interest. I love using the flat brush. It's just, I love the way that the results are with the marks. So I've been adding a whole range of colors into this. Areas with shadow, just closer up, there's a lot of kind of like reflection on her face going on with where the light is coming from. If she's moving her face around, all that is supposed to work together in here. So I'm just gonna add some blue to my purple and add some shadow in here as well, some of this blue. And add some in here in her, and so let's see, blend some of that. So the cooler spaces, it's like I'm trying to get cooler colors into the shadowy areas. And I'm trying to take my time with this. If I feel something is too much, I will wait for it to dry and come back in with it. But yeah, her face is very dynamic, and her hair, again, I can work on. Just gonna try and work on some of these shadow areas for my last few moments. Let's see. Alexa, stop. So yeah, just a lot more details can be added, but so I like the way that it's resulted. I am going to, like for her eyes, I want to make some areas a bit darker than they are, so I'm going to add some of the dark blue into these and make them a bit more prominent. So I'm just cleaning off my brush and gonna add some color into these areas. Oop, the brush looks too, I don't want it to be wet too much, so I have to make sure. So it can take much longer and add to areas like her eyelashes. So yeah, I can build up more as I go along, but I'm gonna leave it here for today. Thank you so much for joining me on my live here in the studio, and please do find time to create something exciting yourself, and I'll see you guys in my next live session. So this butterfly I did not get into very much, but I will do work on it a little bit further as I let it dry as well and come back to it. But thank you so much for joining me here on my studio live here on YouTube, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.